Hi, welcome to FedScoopTV. I'm Dan Verton, the Cyber and National Security Reporter. We're speaking today with Mr. David Bray. David is the Chief Information Officer for the Federal Communications Commission. David, thank you very much for being here.
Thanks for having me, Dan.
Tell me a little bit about your short-term and long-term plans for leveraging technology for engagement.
So particularly in the area of engagement, we at the FCC are probably due for an update to our website. And so like most agencies, we're looking at going to responsive. But we also want to go sort of the extra mile and actually try and think about, can we make it so that our data is not just discoverable by humans, but also discoverable by machines? And so actually, we have already found for some of our sites broadband maps. While the average use may be like 100,000 users a month for human, it's at least 10 or 20 times that for machine to machine. That actually the data is actually more valuable than the actual content for machine purposes. And that actually helps us make our site both more available to machine purposes, but also available for 508 compliance, because we want to actually make sure the FCC is leading the way in the area of 508 compliance.
Great. Are you finding any particular technologies are driving cost savings?
So on the area of cost savings, we are particularly interested in technologies that allow us to take legacy systems and extract the data quickly. And so that might be UML and other tools that we can actually do there, so that we can make the data as discoverable as possible to the public as well as the private sector.
So obviously you mentioned data. What are you doing in terms of data analytics, making use of this information?
Well, the first step is, so I often say that like being a CIO is like being buying a used car and driving off the lot and then looking at the engine. So having recently arrived at this role, I have looked at my engine, and my engine currently has 207 systems at last count, of which more than 40% are 10 years old. And so what we're trying to do is, with the data, is at least begin to try and create a data mart, not a data warehouse, but a data mart, so that we can at least point to the data that's in these different systems. FCC has different systems that do licensing. It would be nice if we could actually say, I am this private sector provider, or I am this individual. I actually want to look across these different systems and see what data is associated with me without having to log on to those different systems.
So as a CIO, you're looking out over the landscape, the entire government landscape here. Are any particular technologies you see coming down the pike that you might characterize as disruptive, changing the game, so to speak?
Well, I think we're right in the middle of the disruption of mobile. I think that's actually, I would not be surprised if a year and a half or 2 years from now, desktops are no longer being purchased. I think we're really sort of looking at the idea of looking at tablets, maybe laptops, but nowadays with tablets and a keyboard, that is a laptop for all intents and purposes. And so actually I did just launch 2 days ago a blog looking at what could we do for the future of field office and secure mobility. And that's part of the philosophy that I like to engage the public and the private sector for what are possible answers. I don't pretend that government has all the answers. And so if people have thoughts, definitely open to that. We're particularly interested in what could allow us to do our jobs and actually have all the functionalities of a tablet or a smartphone, but at the same time have the assurances that it's actually secure.
Great, thank you. Well, we've been talking with Mr. David Bray, the CIO of the Federal Communications Commission. David, thank you so much for being here today.
Really appreciate it.
You've been watching FedScoopTV. I'm Dan Verton. Thanks very much.